Hello, all. And by all, I mean
No one.
no.
That's typically how it is, though.
That is exactly how it always is.
Baby,
Lookaboo, you need to stop
if
that,
you
sweetie.
are gonna cry, we're gonna put you in your pen. Do you want to go in your pen? I think someone needs a nap. Put that elbow slip away and go take a nap.
Naps are for stupid people. Right, Lookaboo Boo?
Well,
Right, Lookaboo Boo? So let's make a fun of
go down for a second.
some stuff. What am I going down
It's
to?
a giant pretzel.
You're a giant pretzel.
I am a giant pretzel. I'm okay with it.
So let's see here. This person would like to sell
Black.
an ion mask that you could not pay me enough to wear, 3 pods in a whatever case, a carbon fiber tank, no date included, but I'm sure it's old. It looks like an old one. For $175.
That's a barrel squeegee.
That is, yes, indeed, a barrel squeegee of some nature. Yeah, well, give me some info on the tank, please. That'd be nice.
You can't wear those masks anymore.
No, that you couldn't pay me enough to wear that mask. So altogether, just the gun essentially, and that's not worth $175.
35.
This one's $35 for 2 masks that.
Those aren't awful.
No, but they're old. They're super old. PMI isn't even a
I
company
mean, like
anymore.
that scares me a little bit. That opening on your.
So essentially, you're just
cheekbone.
paying for the pod belt. Yeah, these masks are no good. Look at those insides, which is worth like $5. Because those pods, they're not any good either. The lid doesn't even stay on those. The whole lid comes off.
That looks like a science experiment going
So
on.
essentially, they're worth $5, and he's charging $35. Good job, people.
It went down.
No, that's what it was.
No, it was 630, wasn't it?
No, it started at 650, went down to 600. So they just reposted. So what she's screaming about so excitedly is a BT Defender still being sold for $600.
That thing's bigger than my entire body.
This person for $40
He's
is
very excited about the kit.
dual paintball marker kit! Exclamation point. So there's a black ammo case, 2 spiders, a CO2 tank, and 2 gravity-fed hoppers. Yeah, worth maybe $5, and he wants $40 for it. I don't know where these people come up with these prices. I think there's.
I like the paintball pods, 50 for 50.
Yeah, I mean that's $1 each. I think that's if you need pods.
Those are pretty good. I mean, they're Empire pods. They're
If
pretty
you
good.
need pods, that's a perfectly fine price.
And he's willing to meet you at Pittsburgh Paintball Park.
Oh, that's
Well, we
nice.
got 2 people watching. No one's
Supposedly.
saying anything to us.
Supposedly there's 2 people watching.
Allegedly.
I don't know if I believe it, but that's what it says. That is what it says. He says he's willing to meet you at Pittsburgh Paintball. Green Tree or Aspenwall. So he's willing to meet at Steeltown or P3.
But Steeltown isn't an Aspinall.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Where is it?
Steeltown is in Leetsdale. Aspinwall is past the zoo.
Well, then what's he talking about when he says Aspinwall?
I don't know where.
Give me your phone. Where's my phone? Give me a phone.
I don't know. All I know is that Steeltown is in Leetsdale.
Are you certain of this?
Yes, I'm.
How certain are you?
I'm not sure if that's Leetsdale, but it's right on 65 on Ohio River Boulevard, like off Ohio River Boulevard. I believe it's in Leetsdale. I hear you, baby.
So I don't know what he's talking about with Aspinwall.
Isn't Aspinwall out
I guess
past
he.
the zoo?
I guess what he's trying to say is that he will meet at P3 or he will meet in Aspinwall. That's probably where he's from. He's probably from Aspinwall. Here you go.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Osmo is right across from the zoo.
It's
I
across
know
from
where
the zoo. It's not at the zoo.
I did not say it was at the zoo.
You said it was past the zoo.
I said it was past the zoo.
It's not past the zoo.
Okay, well, I was close enough.
Yes, quite close enough. Quite indeed. So we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today, but most of it has to do with Reaper Siege 2 and how that went. And Adolf's talking to Paul.
Talking about. Can you tell him to tune in so he can voice his maybe drugged out opinion? He had oral surgery today, so I think he's on antibiotics and painkillers. So we don't know what would come out of his mouth.
Probably his saliva.
Or blood.
Or blood, or both. Saliva and blood.
I want to know where our peoples are. They're supposed to watch this.
We don't have peoples.
Well, we need to get some peoples.
Maybe, but that doesn't change the fact that we don't have any. We don't have any actual people.
That's unfortunate.
We don't have any actual being stupid, but it is.
That's unfortunate.
We don't have any actual being stupid,
Alright.
but it
Does this ever
is.
become
I hear
unfortunate?
myself talking,
Weird.
and it's exciting. It's the excitingest. So first thing is the 2 cards. So I won 2 cards at the game, which are fun.
Do you want to explain the cards?
I will.
Explain that card first.
So this is from Paul, Whiskey Squad, and basically, he actually gave it to me because he sent me on a mission, a sniping mission, and he said, Dan, I need you to go take out this sniper. It's a counter sniper mission. I was like, well, I'll try. And he said, if you don't think you can do it, I'll send someone else. I was like, I'll try. It was my first time using my MG100, only my second time ever playing with first strikes, first time ever using a scope on the field. So I said, I'll try, I'll do my best. And I didn't have too many first strikes left, but got out there, eventually got the sniper out, which was good. And when I went back, the next time I was at up to see Paul, he asked if I had gotten him. I said I sure did. And so he handed me this card and said, you can go give this to him. And I said, well, it's your card. You can give it to him. And then later on, he asked if I'd given it to him. And I said, no, that's still your card. And so he just told me to keep it because it was I completed the mission. So basically, he gave it to me as a thanks for doing the sniper mission that I sent you to do. And he talked the sniper up too. He was like, he's a good sniper, so, and he may be, but I didn't feel that he was shooting that many people. I don't know if it was because I was distracting him and he was really paying attention to me at that point, or if people were just talking the sniper up, because I didn't notice him really shooting a lot of people. He was so I don't know if he was just concentrating on me and thereby not shooting other people or what, but he paid a lot of attention to me at that point. So
I think I know who you're talking about because I believe he shot me, but it took him a lot to get me.
he was in a tower on Woods Ball.
Yep.
So
He took out-
anyone familiar with the field, Ultimate Woods Ball has those 2 new towers on it. He was on one of the towers.
Was he closer to jungle?
Yeah.
Then I know exactly who you're talking about because he flung a lot of first strikes at me and couldn't hit me, and then I think I lined
That's
up.
because you're itty bitty.
I am itty bitty. I lined up, I guess my mask was like perfect and he hit me right there. And then Cody got like sniped from both sides and I was very angry.
It happens. Card number 2, I got from Reaper because I shooted him. I shooted him multiple times, like 2 times, just to make sure it broke. And he gives a card if you shoot him on the field. So I got that. It was not hard to shoot him, given the circumstances.
He pretty much lets you shoot him. Like, if you think about it,
I think he does but a lot of it he just likes to walk. He walks a lot, or he runs into fire a lot.
what I noticed, and I moved away after the fact. I should have shot him. I wasn't really thinking about it, but we were in Woods Ball, and he just walked down, like, facing a bunch of us, like, wide open, and he's all in black, and when there's really no, like, shadows, when you're walking straight down a pathway, he sticks out, and he's a very tall man.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get the team to move forward, so he'll take the fire, nobody else can move up, kind of thing. But yeah, he'll tell you straight out he's not that good of a player. He's more of an inspirational guy. He's upfront about that, which I like. I appreciate the fact that he's upfront with what he does.
He called me princess.
Well, you are a little princess.
He called me princess on Sunday, though.
Okay.
Because he was on the field, and he's like, "Hi, princess," and I was like, "Hi."
Cool. Good story, my love.
That's my very first story.
Ooh, is that chocolate still on the couch? Might want to check out for the dog. Oh, jeez, now you're gonna break this. Minion, I apologize for her destructiveness. It didn't break, thankfully. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, so the situation of where I shot him, we were on compound, or I was on compound. They had smoked compound, so everyone had to hard respawn from there. I had been over in jungle when it happened, so I asked the ref to tell me when I could go in. He told me I could go in, so I ran in. I was the only person in compound for about 10-15 seconds, and then I was the only person on my team in compound because that's where their spawn is. So I was trying to hold them in there. I didn't get the right positioning. I definitely should have gone towards the outside, like where the main path is, where they always run in. So I made that mistake on my own. I went more towards the center of the field. But I was good distraction in that they were engaging with me instead of just heading onto the field, which was really good. It was very... It was not perfect positioning by any means, but it was a whole lot better than having not done it. But I was all alone. It was scary because I was by myself. And I kept calling for reinforcements and no one showed up. I was all by myself. But then, so I'm engaging with these people off and on. Nothing too intense. And then this guy just comes walking through the center. And he didn't know I was there. So I took Pop out, just took him out. And realized it was Reaper. And he walks over and he says, "Do you want a card?" I was like, "Sure." So you get a card whenever you shoot him. And so that's how I got the Reaper card. Like I said, he didn't realize I was there, and so it was actually very simple to shoot him because he was just kind of walking through what should have been a nice, secure position for his team. Gavs, so you were there, and I was not aware of that until later on in the day. You were on the wrong team, though. I just want to point that out to you. You were on the red team, and that's not good. In fact, that's quite bad.
Honorary Alex / Pistol Jesus.
Honorary Alex?
Honorary team member, I guess. I don't know if he's technically.
Alex was on the wrong team.
He was on the wrong team as well. Also, let's just talk about how he bit it and like busted up his knee.
You shot me. When did you shoot me? We will come back to the knee story. I have to first find out when Gaff shot me. When did you shoot me? I would like to know this. And then we'll tell the knee story, and then I'm going to tell about the Minion Award, and then we'll move on to the actual subject of the video.
So Paul should be joining us as well.
Paul is coming here?
No, he's going to join us. He's going to watch, so I'm assuming he'll participate.
You were pushing toward... I was pushing towards the flag. The flag in... Shot me in the back. Pushing towards the flag in the center of compound? And I did not call it. Did it break? In the middle of compound? Because I know I took a lot of shots that didn't break that day. Did I have it checked? Was I all by myself? I don't remember when that was. I mean, I got shot a lot, so I don't know when that was. Um, and did they check me? And did I leave? I'm hoping that I did. If you got me, then I'm hoping I left. Is he having trouble finding it?
Yeah, I told him that.
Yeah, but Hoppa shots don't count. You can shoot me in the gun all day. In fact, I'm okay with that. I'd prefer you shoot me in the gun all day. That'd be helpful to me. Okay, good. Because I actually use my hopper as a shield a lot of times. I'll put it in front of my face just so it takes the shots instead of. Yeah, I mean, I tried to be an honest player, so you know, if you hit me and I don't leave, it's because I honestly didn't know. Or there are some occasions, and we'll get to this when we talk about the subject of the video, where there are reasons I did not leave. Hey, Pop. And again, we'll get back to that point. So next we want to talk about Alex biting it. So go ahead, explain young golf cart rolling in.
Okay, so
Bring me a quieter toy, Pop.
Alex was in line to get all registered, and I see him come running through the parking lot by when you go up the hill when you first enter the parking lot. That's where we were stationed, and I see him run in sandals, and I can just see it slow motion. He slides, and he lands, boom, right on his knee, scuffs up his hands, and being Mama A Dog that I am, I go running for a first aid kit, and I tried to clean it the best I could, and I put gauze, knee, he had a big hole here, he scraped up here, and the rest was just all scraped up, but these two areas on his knee were.
You know they can't see your knee.
Why can't they see my knee? Okay.
Because you're too low. They can't see what you're doing there.
Okay.
You're too small for that. You're gonna die.
No, I'm not. So here's my knee. Basically, here was a big gash, and right there was a big gash.
Big gash.
And so I tried to clean it up. It took some gauze and 4 bandages. Hopefully we cleaned it up and it's okay. It's got bogey knees. But yeah, don't run on gravel in flip-flops, because you fall.
Yeah, don't do that.
You fall real good.
You fall hard. By the way, everybody, our room is still not perfected, so the angles are still weird, the lighting is still weird. I apologize for all that. We're still working on it. Still getting everything figured out. So yeah, the moral of that story is don't run on gravel and flip-flops. Don't be like Alex.
Don't be like it.
So I won an award at the end of the day. It's the Minion Award. And
It's special edition.
It's special edition. It's limited edition for reasons. Eventually, if
I think you should.
you run Crocs while playing, you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna die. Hi, Poltergeist.
Hi, Poltergeist.
Nice of you to join us. This is the first time ever, I think, that
It's the
you've
second.
been here in person. But I think this is the first time you've been online.
Second.
Is it? Well, anyway. So.
We love you, Poltergeist.
So I've been every time so this is what the third time he's handed out this award.
Yes.
Third time, and for the first 2 times I was like, "Whoa, where's my award?
This is the second
How come I don't get one?"
wooden plaque, and I think it's very nice. I mean, this is a very nice plaque. The wood smells real good and clean. But I mean, that's a really nice job. I think the first one was Danger Man, and it wasn't a plaque. It was the beer mugs that we got for Christmas that were etched. Because that's what one of the classes he takes allows him to do all this fun stuff. And then the second award was given at Temple of Doom. So you get this one.
So I finally got one. I'm not. He gave out two. One was to me. I don't know if he gave it to me because he truly believes I earned it, or if because I kept complaining about it. Either way, I'm okay with it.
But why did he tell you that he gave it to you?
He said that I've long deserved it, but he doesn't give it to me because I'm his team captain.
He's gonna try to join us via cam.
I don't think you can. I don't think.
But
you
if
can.
you want to try,
Yeah,
we
feel
love
free. Feel
seeing
free to
you.
try, but I don't think you can.
I do. I also, before we go into the topic of the video, I need to give a shout out to Nicole. I'm gonna say this because she was very timid about coming to P3 because they allow first strikes. She was very scared about them, and we all were like, one hit, they're gonna find a place to hit you, and it's not gonna be a big deal, and you're gonna get one. Unfortunately for her and her experience with first strikes, she got hit on the knuckle of her right hand, and it got real swollen. She thought it might be broken. She was, I think, half pissed off, half like terrified that it was broken. And so she comes off the field. I didn't think she was going to go back on. I thought it was broken. There's no way she was going to go back on. She made this like tourniquet from a bandana and just put ice in it, and I tied it as tight as I could. And then she was maybe there for a half hour icing it. Next thing I know, she's on the field. She's got, I think it was electrical tape, taped around her hand, shooting 6 guys and knocking them out. She is a badass bitch. She plays with her husband, Mike. We always make sure that they're on our team. And I think she deserves accolades for going back on the field after that incident and shooting 6 guys and being a badass bitch. And that's how I feel about her. So.
Indeed.
I was duct tape.
High grade duct tape. Well, while we're on the subject, if you happen to know either their last name or if you're friends with them on Facebook, let us know because we've been trying to find them and we can't. So
I did some
stalking.
stalking and I couldn't find them.
She failed. It's her first time ever.
But it's really so. This is also a funny story that I'm going to mention while we're here.
Mention.
That
I'm ready.
Mike is originally from Texas,
That's
and
unfortunate.
moved up here because of Nicole. And so Nicole has this T-shirt that says "I messed with Texas," and I think that's funny.
Well, Papa.
I'm done now.
Well, Papa.
Bo.
All right. So today's topic, the main topic of today. Oh, well, you did get another award. We might as well mention that award. Which way am I going?
There we go. Right there.
It's
No.
backwards. There, that award right there.
I don't know.
High rollers. So while we're continuing to talk, Paul, why don't you go ahead and explain why A-Dog won that award while we continue to talk, and then I'll read what you say. But basically, A-Dog got the High Roller Award. I think he more or less gave it to all of Dunedain, but specifically A-Dog. But yeah, I'll let him say some stuff, and then I'll read it to you guys. But essentially, High Roller means you collected a lot of stuff. That's really what it comes down to.
Was that a P3 award?
Yeah.
Is that something that
Yeah.
Jen and Kivo created?
Mhm.
I wasn't sure who.
It's
created
oriented the wrong way, though. I do have to say. Well, she did earn it more than me. I fully admit that. That's why I said it's mostly hers.
I didn't get much.
That's without question. She did a lot more than I did as far as collecting things. I only collected 2 items, I think. I think I collected 2 and handed another one off. So, like, that's not very much. She came back down with, like, buckets full of stuff, so.
I stuck them in my boobs.
Boobs full of stuff. But anyway, it's oriented the wrong way. It does not fit with the rest of our awards, which are all portrait or no, they're all landscape, and that one's portrait. It's backwards. Arg.
It
And
doesn't
so
look too bad though.
it doesn't look too bad where it is. The next layer might be weird though. Okay, so he says, in reality, the reason it was awarded was she was responsible for making sure all the material found in the field came back safely.
I did that.
Which ADOG has mentioned many times to me, by the way, Paul, just so you know. The 412 crew did collect things and give them to her. Yes, that is true. They also collected many things that were wrong. Also, they were not the only ones giving her stuff. Also, she was finding her own stuff. You had mentioned that maybe they should have gotten it, but they weren't going to get 2 awards. They feel like they did all that. And they did do a lot of fighting and stuff, yes. But they are not the ones who collected everything. So I want to make sure you know that.
I have some words about 412 crew, and I don't want to take away any of their talent. They protected my butt to get me into jungle to place that bomb. The one thing that really bothers me is that we were on the field and I ran into them. They're like, we have all of these things. Not half of them. 35% of them were red. And I said, we can't touch anything that's red. And they're like, where was that in the briefing? Kivo said it. And if you would have listened to the briefing, you would have understood that. And I went around and I told everybody, do not touch anything that is red. And yes, they were big assets to a lot of the stuff that we did. And I don't want to take anything away from them. And I knew my place. I was comms and I was a pack mule. And there were a lot of things that I didn't find. That briefcase that was worth $2,000, that was all Nicole. I told Nicole followed me. I was telling her, we were looking through things, we were examining. She's the one that went into the field and found it. I just brought it back. So it looked like I was doing stuff, and I told Poltergeist that I was like, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just telling people what to do, and they're bringing me things, and I'm just sticking them in my bra and walking off the field with them. I did find cocaine, though. Fake cocaine, but nonetheless cocaine, which I was very excited about. And I was the one that told everybody to pick up those green bottles.
I thought everyone knew that. Because there was one right next to where we spawned. I pointed out to a bunch of people.
So when the pathway that goes up to jungle, if you're far side on the right, there were a slew of them there, and I looked at them and I was like, I wasn't sure because of the green smoke. I thought they were there for a particular purpose, and they were not a prop you could take. And I found Steven, and Steven radioed into Jen my question, and then I just started collecting all of them and sticking them in my bra. And then I told everybody, I was like, put them in your pod packs and in your pockets, because that's technically, if you get hit, you're not holding it. That's in your pod pack. You don't have to drop it. That's what I said to them. I was like, if you're carrying something, you're going to have to drop it because you're holding it. But if it's on your person, so I just jammed everything down my boobs. I had 2 bras on. It was all going in there. I came out the first round. Bill was the one that, I was like, somebody get me off of this field. And it just there were 900 things in my shirt.
That was what you were for. That's what you were for. And they did a terrific amount of fighting. I know when we did the drops at the end, by the time we dropped, 412 crew had cleared out the whole area. There wasn't even a reason for us to drop. And then, unfortunately, Shocker took us way down farther. I wanted us to land right next to the bomb, and I was like, Shocker, okay, we're here. And he kept taking us down farther. I was like, where are you taking us? Because apparently he thought we were landing in Black Forest, which is where they landed.
Minion got me to the jungle side tower in Woodsball. And I got stuck there. Luckily, we had the medic tank. And I came back. Mike had the shield. He dropped it off and went back to the medic tank. And Zach informed us that shields are live and you can just pick it up. So I had a 4-1-2 crew in front of me and behind me, and I just chugged along in the center carrying that bomb. But I think the one downfall, and I had thought about this, and I should have been more vocal, is we should have waited until the last.
Yeah, I think we were allowed to wait till like 4:30. We definitely should have done that. Well, that's standard. At least 4 awards were there. I remember for that stupid Bunker Hill award, there was 3 awards total, not 4
and
awards.
One of them was how far did you travel?
Farthest traveled, and then there was MVP for both teams. That was it. So 4 for each team is way more than that.
Which I don't even like talking about that game.
Yeah, well, let's move on from that game. But so the main topic of the video is, did they really win? So my argument, and I'm sure you guys see this coming, is a big fat no. Unfortunately, I'm the only person on our team, on Yellow Team, to have witnessed this. I was the only one alive on our team where this happened. But let me set up how we got to this point. So, as A-Dog was saying, unfortunately, I think we put the bomb live too early. We should have waited longer, but essentially, it all boiled down to our team had to put this bomb together, put it in place, and have it there until 5 o'clock.
So, just a little background of the bomb. When you had to bring the bomb to a pallet that had an X on it, and it was in basically the middle of the jungle, if you know what the jungle is for whoever's watching. And I get there, and I place the bomb there, and I have a watch that Boner gave me, and it says 3:48. And I yell to Kivo, I have 48. Do I put it for 72? And he screams, there's an hour and 15 minutes left. So I go, Kivo, do I do it for 75? And he's like, an hour and 15 minutes. So technically, it was 3 minutes more than we needed to hold the bomb. But when a ref tells me that it's an hour and 15, I go by ref standards because I'm not losing because of a technicality.
Right. So 5 o'clock was supposed to be the end. Our bomb was supposed to explode at 5 o'clock regardless of when we set it. So if we set it at 3 o'clock, 2 hours. We set it at 4 o'clock, 1 hour. We set it at 4:59, 1 minute. Whatever. I think 4:30 was the latest we were allowed to, though. I'm not 100% sure of that.
There is no direction on the bomb of when you had to place it.
Right, but I think she had something written that it had to be done.
Well, on the directions of the bomb, it just stated that if you put the bomb on the pallet at 4, then you set the timer for an hour.
Okay. Well, in any case, moving on. We set it there and we had to hold it for 75 minutes is when it ended up being. We had taken the area with, like I said, there were 2 drops. 412 crew dropped, and then I and a bunch of people dropped. By the time we dropped, they had already done all the work, which was great. So we just planted ourselves, secured the area. A-Dog got up there with the bomb, set the bomb for 75 minutes. So at that point, we just had to hold it until 5 o'clock. They had to defuse it. Now, this part, it's the game mechanics. That's how it is. I think it's a little wonky, and maybe they should think about it for next year if they do something similar. So we had to hold it until 5 o'clock, regardless of when we set it. All they had to do was defuse it, which legitimately they pressed a button. Like, not even held the button.
It was basically just a stopwatch. It was a wait.
Yeah. So
like kitchen timer.
We had to hold it for 75 minutes. It took them 5 seconds to defuse it. So that's something they might want to think about in the future. It seems a little off. I can completely understand having a button defuse it, but then we should be able to try to take it back, maybe. I told her, Jen, before this, I was like, Jen, I'll take my fingers and hold the wires together. Like, I got this. We're blowing ourselves up anyway. I got this. But you haven't missed much, Eric. So we held it until it was about 4:15 or so when this happened. I don't know the exact time. Because someone forgot my watch, not mentioning any names. But this person borrowed my watch the weekend before and did not put it back where it belonged, so I didn't have my watch with me. But in any case, some smoke was let off, and I had the masks that allowed you to live through the smoke. So I was left over in this area. I was the only person over there because of the smoke. Most of the team was back in the jungle area protecting the bomb, which makes perfect sense. And then I start going back, and then you hear the fireworks, which is an airstrike, and then Kivo and the other refs start calling everybody in the area out. And I'm walking into this, keeping in mind, I'm walking into this. The bomb's already, or the airstrike has already happened, but I'm walking in, and they're still making their rounds, calling everybody out, so they told me to leave. Makes sense? So I start walking off, and this whole line of red people, I see about 4 of them, but it turns out there's more behind them, start walking in, and I was like, guys, we gotta leave. An airstrike happened, and then we all have to hard reset. And the one in front just holds up this plastic bag. No idea what it is, but he seems to think it's important. So I was like, okay, you stay, but all the rest of you have to leave. I found out later that's an antidote, so he was allowed to stay with an airstrike. So that's fine. Okay, he gets to stay, but all the rest of them have to leave.
Exactly where you?
Loki, please stop. Loki. We were on. It was like it's right on the edge of jungle where it goes onto the main road behind Black Forest and the castle.
Where the medic station was?
No, other side.
Okay.
Near where we started. I guess there was a medic tent there, but it's like farther up. But in any case, I'm like, guys, we have to leave. And the one guy holds up the thing, and the guy behind him just says no. Like one word, just no. And they all keep walking. And I'm like, guys, they just called, respawn. We have to all go hard respawn. And another guy said, well, we just came in. So we weren't here when it went off. I said, neither was I, but unfortunately that's the way of the game. The ref said we all have to restart, so we have to go reset and start. But they all kept walking. And then there was this ref in the distance, and I still don't know who this ref was. I can't tell when everyone has their masks on and they're always just wearing a ref jersey. Like, I don't know who it was, unfortunately. And I was like, ref, we have to reset, right? And he said, yes. And I was like, well, they're not. And he said, hold on. So he started radioing. I don't know if he ever got in contact with them or not. Because he's trying to radio and he never actually gives me an answer again. And I said, ref, if they're not leaving, because they're still walking past me. By this point, there's like 10 or 12 of them, or maybe even more. I can stay too, right? And he said, yes. Now, Mike Mowry was there with me. He was on the red team. He's from SAS. He was like the last person, or one of the last two people
in the butt.
Coming up from this group. And I was talking to him because he was waiting for the ref's word as well, because he's actually an honest player. So he's waiting for the ref's word just like I am. And I asked the ref, if they don't leave, I can stay too, right? And the ref said yes. And I said, Mike, or in the meantime, while we're waiting for the ref, I said, Mike, just so you know, if they don't leave, I'm going to shoot them all in the back, including you. Just be aware of that. But he stood with me waiting. So when the ref finally gave I asked the ref if they don't leave, I can stay too. He said yes, so I turned to Mike, who was still standing next to me. I said, barrel tagged him with my gun, turned and just shot as many of them as I possibly could, which they were very angry about. And the one guy was like, where was your respawn? And I was like, you didn't leave, so neither did I. So I got a bunch of them out, but there were at least, I think someone told me there were 16 of them. One of them told me, I think there were 16 of them. So there were definitely more than 10, less than 20, somewhere in that range. I probably got 7, 8 of them. Although Alex later told me that I got all but one. I don't know if I quite believe that. I think I got less than that. But in any case, however many of them were left, the airstrike that had happened was right on the coordinates of where the bomb was. So literally half of our team, if not more, everyone that was in the way for them and where the bomb was, are now gone. I was the only one in that sector. I was the only one between them and the bomb, which they had passed me because I was leaving and they were coming in. So they had passed me. They were between me and the bomb. I shot as many of them as I could, but I couldn't get them all. They shot me, so I leave. And on my way out, game over. So what happened is that group, or however many of those group were left, disarmed the bomb in the 5 seconds it takes to press that button. So
You would
Did-
open a container.
did they really win? That's the question here that we're trying to get towards, because the ref called them out. So I later talked to Kivo about it, and he said that they were right. They came in after the airstrike, so they were fine as far as were they supposed to leave? Were they out? So I understand that. That makes perfect sense. But previous to that, like 3 sentences before that, we were talking about some other guy who had not left when Kivo had called him out, and he said, "These people leave when I call them out," because he made sure that this person left. So I said, "Okay, Kivo, so they were in due to the fact that they were walking in after the airstrike, but the ref told them that they were out and they had to leave, but they didn't." And Kivo had no answer for that, because there isn't an answer for that other than, regardless of if it was fair or not, the ref told them to go respawn, and they did not. So regardless of whether or not they should have been out is not even in the question. The question is, were they cheating by not leaving when the ref says, yes, go respawn? And I think most people would say yes, that if the ref tells you to respawn, then you better go respawn. If the ref says you're out, you go out. You don't sit there and argue with the ref. Even if you're going to argue with the ref. Maybe you wanted to say, hey, ref, I'm not out. This is why. Can you radio in and get word? That'd be one thing. But they didn't do that either. He told them to leave, and they just stayed. They didn't even argue with him. They just said no and stayed. And then they end up winning the game because of that. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Should that? I mean, did they really win? And I'm not saying that they wouldn't have won otherwise. Like maybe they would have gotten the bomb and defused it anyway. That's entirely possible. But the way it happened, in the opinion of this person right here, was cheating. If you tell the ref, no, I'm not leaving, even though he calls you out, that is cheating. That's all I can say about it. And so the day was a lot of fun. There's a few moments, as with any game, where there was a few things here and there, which I'll mention. But this, unfortunately, I've unfortunately, because of the last 10 minutes of the game, the whole day was ruined. Like I had so much fun up until that last 10 minutes of the game, the last 2 minutes of the game, really, and it just ruined the whole thing for me. It really did. But so while you guys are telling me your opinions, I'll mention just one or two other small spots that it happened on any game. This is always going to happen. But at one point, someone called ceasefire, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure who. No one knows. But someone called ceasefire. So our whole team called ceasefire. We all stopped firing. We put our guns down. As you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put your gun on the ground and sit and not move and not fire, certainly. And don't take your mask off or anything like that. That's what you're supposed to do. I know. Let me finish. With a ceasefire. So we still don't know who called ceasefire but we all follow suit. And red team heard and they stopped firing. But what they didn't do was set their guns down and sit. Instead, what they did was move as a group towards us. And the ref comes down and we're like, ref, they're moving. Like, what's going on? Why are they moving? And so he goes down and he tells them, like, you guys need to move. You guys stop. You can't keep moving like this. And then Kivo comes running out and he's like, or Steven comes running out and Kivo's running out. Why are we stopped? What's going on? And they're like, we don't know. We were called ceasefire for some reason. And he said, there's no ceasefire. Game on and go. And so we just shot like 8 of them that were because they had been moving towards us. And the ref, I guess they started complaining to the ref, and so the ref had us all hard reset, which, I mean, I guess that makes sense if there's going to be an argument, hard reset everybody. But in that particular instance, they shouldn't have been. Why were they moving? You don't move when there's a ceasefire.
That happened at Temple.
Yep.
I'm not on mission 3. The one when they ceasefired and they were moving our spawn back.
Uh-huh.
That happened. They were moving.
Yeah, you're not supposed to move when there's a ceasefire.
So, like, I find during scenarios, because it happened at Ion, not this past year, but last year, when you cease fire, and nobody knows why you're ceasefiring, and then you hear shots, so you instantly shoot somebody, specifically for a small scenario. And not that Reapers or Temple of Doom are small, but in reality, they're small. Why can't you just stop everything and have everybody go back to their spawns and start? Like, with Temple of Doom, that's what should have happened. Now, I understand that may not be able to happen.
With Reapers, it wouldn't have made sense because of the game style.
Yeah.
With Temple of Doom, it would have made sense.
And I yelled at Alex about that, because that really made me angry. Don't just stop the game and let everybody do whatever the hell they want while you're moving a spawn. You should have moved both spawns and had us restart from those spawns.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is not my game." I can't stand him.
Well, he's not wrong, though. It wasn't his decision.
It's Three Rivers Field.
No, but it's Kuda's decision.
I'm
Kuda
sorry.
is the one who decides where the spawns are.
Okay.
He's the one who decided to move the spawn. He's the one who decided that they needed to stay there and we needed to move.
That's fine.
So it was Kuda's
I'm not
decision.
talking about the spawns. But
So you can't blame Alex for that.
I'm not blaming Alex. I want to know why you didn't make us restart from our spawn point. Both of our teams.
I agree with that, but again, you can't blame Alex for
Why
that.
can't I?
Because it's Kuda's decision.
But it's a Three Rivers safety precaution. Say, Kuda, we're restarting from spawns. Done. It's Three Rivers Field and Three Rivers safety.
Okay, but then again, if that be the case, I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't agree with you, but I can see your point. Again, that's not Alex's call. That would be Tyler's call.
Well, somebody should have made the call.
Okay, we'll talk to Tyler about it.
I also have an issue with Tyler, too.
Tyler was high ref, so you need to talk to him. Okay, so let's see what Paul said. I look at it this way. I should have employed resources at the end that would really have negated it all anyway, but I did not. So suffice to say, my lack of using said resources cost us. That's true, but that doesn't really answer the subject. Well, you all got airstriked as well. They didn't get hit with that too. Didn't they get hit with that too? So yes, that's my point, is that they got airstriked. If I got airstriked, they got airstriked. That's my point. And regardless of whether or not they did, because they have a point, they were walking in after the airstrike. That's legitimate. And Kivo even said they had a legitimate point. But regardless of that, the ref told them to leave. He said, go respawn. They just decided not to. So the ref let me stay because they all stayed against his word.
Going back to Paul and the resources, I wanted to know exactly how the bomb was to be played. Because I remember you stating that the end of the game could technically be at 4 o'clock or it could be at 5, depending on what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked him, I was like, are we holding the bomb for an hour? So when we put it down, an hour done? Or are we doing it until 5 o'clock? And he explained it to me. And then I overheard that if they get the bomb, if the bomb goes off, we win. If they defuse it, they win. And I told people that. I should have brought it up to Paul and been like, because it didn't connect to me that money wasn't worth anything. It really came down to that bomb. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't connect, so I should have said something to you, Paul. I should have been like, use all of your money because it doesn't count for anything. So I feel that I didn't lack proper communication, and I should have, said something about the money. Because we had a shit ton of money. We had, at one point, over $11,000.
Right. So I don't know what you could have engaged with, Paul, to negate it, as you're saying. But I'm sure there is something, and she's right. We should have used that, and whatever. That is not, regardless of what we should or shouldn't have done. That doesn't even come into the fact that they cheated. That stands alone. They cheated.
So even if they would have won, the fact that a ref told them to leave and they did not leave.
That's my point. Yeah.
And didn't even question. Didn't go to the ref and say, "Hey, we came in after. Are we really out?" And that could have been a situation the ref handled.
Right.
the ref said leave, and they just said no. That's blatantly. That's blatant
Cheating,
disobeying. That's the issue. Not that they won, but the way they won.
Yeah. Because they may have won anyway. They easily could have won anyway. But the
We
way
had a
they
lot
won,
of time on that bomb.
yeah, they were still over a half hour left, so they still could have won. But the way they won, they didn't win. But anyway, so we'll see if anyone else has an opinion on that. If the ref tells you to leave, do you leave, even if you really shouldn't be out? I mean, I look at it like this way. You know, if whether it be a tournament or rec ball or a scenario, whatever, if you get hit and you see where it hit and it bounces, you know you're not out. But the ref sees it hit you and he sees a splat from earlier in the day or whatever, or splatter, whatever, and he calls you out. Are you supposed to leave? You tell me. I would say yes. If the ref calls you out,
I think if a ref tells you to leave and you don't ask a question.
Listen, if you're in a tournament and the ref tells you to leave, regardless of whether or not you're supposed to be out, and you argue with that ref, not only are you now out, but that's a major, and 2 other people are out too.
No. Well, in a tournament, you don't fuck around and they just kick everybody off the field. But in a scenario, they had the opportunity to be like, this is what we heard the rules are. Can we confirm? Because then I'll leave. You have that opportunity at scenarios.
Right, which is exactly what I did when I said, if they're not out, am I not out either? And that's why the ref told me to stay.
The fact that they were just like, no.
Well, they told me no. They didn't tell him no.
Okay.
They said no, the single word of no to me. But they just ignored the ref. And Alex later, so Alex was part of this group. So Alex, if you're on here or if you listen to this later, what's going on with your team? Although I did talk to him about it in person. He said that he didn't hear the ref say to leave. Which maybe he didn't, but I know some of the people in your group did. I know for a fact they did. Mike did. So I wish Mike was on here so that I could talk to him about it. I'll see him at the latest of...
Is he gonna be at?
He should be at Atlas, so I should see him then. And I can talk to him about it then. But unfortunately, he's the only reliable person I can talk to about it that apparently saw everything or understood everything. I was the only person from Yellow Team in this situation. Everyone else was red, and of course they're gonna say that they were fine. They're gonna find some excuse, and I don't know who the ref was. I maybe it was Zach. I'm not exactly sure. I wish I knew.
There was another ref there that I think was a speedballer. He was. Zach is.
Well, anyway.
Hold on. He had a blue shirt on underneath his ref shirt. So maybe you didn't know who he was because I've never seen him before. But apparently he's a speedballer. So you may just not know who that ref is at all.
Anyway, so I want to talk to Mike about it and see what he says. Because I think Mike agreed with me, which is why he was standing next to me waiting for the ref to give word. And that's also when I said to him, I'm going to shoot them on the back, he didn't say anything. And that's also when I turned him and barrel tagged him, he just left. Because he had no argument because he is an actual honest player. And so he waited for the ref's word.
He's funny. I had gotten out when I had the bomb. And I was stuck in the bottom tower of those buildings in Woods Ball. And I got shot in the ass. And then I kept getting first strikes flying at me. So, like, I couldn't even get out of the tower. I was like, what am I doing? And luckily we had that medic. So I was able to just drop the bomb and go and come back and get the bomb. And then that's when we went to jungle. But I'm off the field and I hear A-Dog. And I'm like, who's calling me? And Mike was calling me. He's like, I shot you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shoot you. They were all around you. I was trying to shoot them. And I was like, you shot me in the butt. I'm like, the fact that that's the kind of player he is. I did not have a gun. Luckily I was crowded around by 5 other players. And by where he shot me, I knew he wasn't aiming for anything. He was trying to shoot them. But the fact that that's the type of player he is, that he's not going to shoot somebody without a gun, who's just holding a prop, because once they all go down, I'm useless. I'm just.
And he and I had some fun at some point in the day. I was trying to hold this back sector. I was all by myself again. Another smoke had gone off, and I was the only one left. And he is super quick for such a big fella. And so we were engaging a little bit. I was trying to shoot him. I couldn't get him through these weeds. And we were just having some fun with each other. We were just yelling at each other. I was like, "Are you out yet?" He's like, "No, you got my gun close though." And then he runs this way. I'm like, "Damn, you're so fast for such a big fella." He's like, "Yeah, get better aim." Eventually I did get him because he just had his pistol with him, and I had my my E-Tech 5. So like it was just a matter of time. He definitely, by the time he got to my left, which is where he was trying to get to, it was just an open road, so there was no way he was going to make it through there. It was just funny. It was a good time. And he showed me after he came up, and he was like, "Remember when you asked if you got me yet?" I said, he showed me his gun. It was like, so when you're gripping the handle, it was like right there, and I was like, "Damn, so close." So yeah, he's a good guy, and I would love to hear his perspective on what happened in the last bit of the game.
Because that's not how you should want to win.
Hi, Pup. Eric's highlight of the day was his knife fight, even though Cody shot his opponent.
Cody was over that. He was like, because he was explaining it from his point. He's like, Minion and this other kid was going for the knife fight. And I was like, I'm done with you. And he just popped him, like just one good shot. And I was like, Cody.
They were trying to have some fun on the field. Let them have their fun. It's not affecting you at all. I think that would have been fun. Unfortunately, my camera decided not to record... Loki, please stop. Not to record anything throughout the whole day. Like, there's a file on the camera of, like, almost 2 gigs, but I can't open it. The camera was erroring all throughout the day, so I didn't get any footage from the day, which is very unfortunate. I was going to make at least one video out of it, but it's very unfortunate that I can't show the situation of what happened at the end of the day, which is super annoying because
no proof.
Because I would love to show everybody and just get honest opinions on what should have happened. Because I mean, I can spiel on and on about it, but you guys weren't there, so how do you know I'm being honest with it? You can't know that, and you can take my word for it, but that's about it. So that's why I'm saying I'd love to get Mike's point of view on it. I'd love to find out who that ref was and get his point of view. But the ref was far enough away that we had to yell for him to hear us. So he probably didn't hear the conversation that I was having with the players. So it's basically it's my word, maybe Mike's word against, in this case, nobody, but the
20 people who won.
Yeah, the 15 people that were there on Red's team, which Alex was one of them. So Alex, you cheated, just so you know. Which I did talk to Alex about it afterward, and he said he did not know the ref had said they needed to leave. And then when I told him they needed to leave, he said that his whole team stayed, or everyone else stayed, so he didn't want to be the one guy to walk away. And so Alex, like, I can understand where you're coming from, but I can tell you that I would have. If the ref tells me to leave regardless of what the team does,
not everybody has
I
a
would
moral
leave.
compass like you.
That's true. But you just got to step up, be that leader, and say, guys, the ref said leave, we need to leave. Like, honestly, that's what you should be doing. So sorry to call you out like that, Alex.
19.
But it's just true. So the one other issue I had, and again, these sorts of things happen all the time at every game you go to, but it's just kind of it's an interesting little story. First time I ever used my MG100, first time during a scenario I'm using first strikes, second time ever using first strikes on the field. I made some pretty good shots, so it was a good time. But I get this guy, or they had an airdrop, they landed, we surrounded them, and I was engaging, and I shot one in the mask. Good shot to the mask, splatted, beautiful shot. I was very excited about it. but he did not leave. Would not leave the field for whatever reason. And I ended up getting hit by one or two people at maybe like 30 seconds later. Not much later. But long enough for this guy not to have left and for it to have annoyed me. And so I get hit, but I didn't leave. And they kept shooting me. And they're calling me. They're like, "Guy, you're hit. Get out. Get out. You're hit." And so I turn off. I come out from my tree. Go to the side. I'm talking to this guy who's maybe, I don't know, 10 yards. I can't measure very well, but I'm going to say 10 yards away. Far enough that if we're talking loudly, we can hear each other. And I'm like, he's like, "You're out, get out." And I said, "Just wait a second." He's like, "You're out, get out." And I said, "Just wait a second." "You're out, get out, just wait a second." And finally he stops yelling at me. And I said, "I am out, and I will leave as soon as that guy does. Because I shot him in the face, and he won't leave." And he's like, "Hold on for a minute." He calls the ref over and talks to the ref for a second. The ref comes over, checks me, and says, "I'm out." And I said, "Yes, ref, I am out, and I will leave as soon as he does." So the ref went over to check him, and I start walking away. And as I'm walking away, I see him talk to the guy, and then back away, and the guy stayed behind his bunker. He did not leave. I assume by that point he had wiped his mask off, and the ref couldn't honestly call him out. So the reason I say it's kind of funny is just because of the engagement I had with the guy. Apparently the guy was honest enough to have the ref check me and the other guy. I don't know that for sure. Maybe he was just having him check me. I don't know. But it was a fun little tidbit. But you're going to have things like that at every game. It doesn't make it better, but that sort of thing's at every game. But so I mentioned to Gaffs earlier, I don't think he's even on here anymore, that there are specific times that I will not call myself out. I will cheat. That's the time. If someone else is cheating, I will cheat until they leave. And I did that at Temple too. Someone was hit, they wouldn't leave, and so I wouldn't either. I called the ref over. I do. I call the ref over and I say, this person over here. And as soon as that guy leaves, if they leave, I leave too. But just on this, and I always make it blatant too. Like at Temple, everyone knew I was hit. But I also actually did have permission to be where I was without being out. Because at Temple, on that specific one, that was mission 3, which is the one everyone complains about. I had asked our spawn ref, who happened to be Colin, I said, "Colin, how far up can I go before they actually shoot me out?" And he said, "You can go up to this tree. If you pass this tree, then you're out." So I stood right behind the tree, and they kept shooting me, and I didn't leave, and they got real mad about it. I was like, "I'm still in." But in this particular case, there was nothing like that. I was honestly out, and I told them, I will leave as soon as he does. Because if you're going to blatantly cheat like that, why shouldn't I? And I know that's a terrible thing to say, and it's a terrible way to act. And it's pretty rare that I do that. But on this particular occasion, like it wasn't maybe I hit him and it bounced, or maybe this, or maybe that. It was straight in the mask. It was a beautiful splat.
I always give props to people who get me in the mask. I also feel that that's me doing a very good job. If the only place you can get me is in my mask, then I'm hiding pretty damn well.
Mm-hmm.
And why, we don't celebrate. Yes, you don't want to get out. And it sucks if you're in a good position or you have to do an objective. But, and I know you do this, if it's a good shot, you should celebrate the good shot.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very similar to surrendering. You got fucking behind me. You got behind me, you snuck up, you deserve that out. You're being gracious enough to not shoot me in the back from 2 feet away. I will gladly leave. I'm not going to shoot you. That's how I can't stand people who don't take surrenders. Oh, yeah. And they're not paying attention to you. I got real mad at Three Rivers when we were at Three Rivers one time. I called myself out, and then I kept screaming surrender, and then I just started shooting at him. And then he got me too many times where it counted, so I left. But I'm surrendering you. Do you want me? I walked up very close to him and screamed surrender 8 times, and he did not leave. And then he started shooting at me. This is rec ball. Simmer yourself down.
Yeah, especially on rec ball. That doesn't make any sense.
He was behind a bunker. This was field two. So like house, bunker right here on their
I
side.
think you've told the story on here before. But essentially, she ran surrendered somebody they didn't take. Gaffs, the answer to your question is, I may have seen you on the field. I don't remember seeing you on the field.
I don't
certainly
even know what you look like.
I
I'm
certainly
sorry.
did not go, oh, that's Gaffs over there. I definitely did not do that, but I may have seen you on the
I
field
don't know,
somewhere.
like people that I see every day when they're on the field.
And Paul, I'm not sure if it was a speed baller. They were too far away for me to get a good look at, like, and they were, well, it wasn't even the distance. It was the fact that he was mostly behind a bunker. That's why it was, like, such a good shot, is because legitimately he kept, like, prairie dogging up. And so, like, I just saw his mask, and that's what I got. That's what made me think, oh, that's a good shot. So, I don't know the answer to that. But a surrendering thing that happened, again, at Reapers, and again, this sort of thing happens all the time, as evidenced by the fact that she was just talking about it. And this didn't happen to me. I was part of it, but it didn't happen to me. What happened is, there was a building closest to the woods on Compound, and Dalton and I were trying to move down into Compound. No, not just us. I mean, there were other people with us, but we were in the front trying to get into it. And we knew there was a person in the building, so Dalton ran up to the building, came over to the window, put his barrel, like, right behind the guy's head and said, surrender. And the guy, I couldn't see from my angle, but what Dalton said was the guy turned to him and said, I don't have to, and then shot him. What I saw from where I was Dalton go up to the window, call surrender, and then get shot. So there's not that much time there, so I don't see how, like, Dalton could be exaggerating or anything. But, like, did the guy want to be shot in the back of the head from 6 inches? Is that what he would have preferred? I don't know. So Dalton was very angry about this, obviously. So what I did was I took a grenade, waited for a few seconds, tossed it in the door, and had it pop. So I'm hoping that guy can't hear anymore. Like, would he have preferred to be shot in the back of the head from 6 inches away? Is that what he wanted?
Like, we're not playing speedball. And
there's kids. So, like, Dalton, I was talking to Dalton about it afterward, and Dalton said that makes him not want to surrender people anymore. Like, if he came to that building again, he would no longer surrender somebody. Which is terrible, because what if there's some 10-year-old kid in there instead of this asshole who won't call a surrender? And Dalton will no longer call surrenders on this building because of this guy. So he comes around and shoots this kid in the back of the head. Like, if someone comes up behind you and they stick their barrel at your head and they say surrender, take the damn surrender. I took a surrender at Reapers from, it happened to be Mike, and he wasn't even that close to me. But I had no idea that he was there until he said surrender, and I was like, who's oh, okay.
That's kind of my point. Like, if I understand maybe if you have a pistol players play differently. I don't want to be shot from 2 feet away. That's not why I play the game. If I wanted to be shot from 2 feet away, I'd be on the speedball field every day. Like, that's not my game.
Mm-hmm. And Mike is a pistol player.
And I'm the size of a 12-year-old. Like, don't fucking shoot me from 2 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will take the surrender unless I don't see you coming. Because I did this at Dub 1. Because I was in that tank and I just saw somebody come this like a shadow and I just shot him very close and I felt really bad about it. Unless I don't see you and you spook me, I'm either surrendering you or I'm taking the surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to call me a wuss for taking a surrender because I don't want to get shot from 2 feet away, I'm a wuss then.
Yeah, I think just like you were saying with, good shots. I think if you manage to surrender me, that's awesome. Like, congratulations to you.
Specifically if you get behind me and do it.
Whether you're behind me or not, if you surrender me instead of shooting me, I am grateful. When Mike did it to me at Reapers, it was fairly early on the game. He went up to, or he spawned in Vietnam at the beginning of the day, and I thought we had cleared it, so I was just walking through. And I hear someone say, I can't remember if he said bang bang or if he said surrender, but either way, I was like, who? Oh, okay. Like, he was not behind me, he was kind of next to me, and he was maybe 10, 15 feet away, but he had his gun pointed at me, and he gave me the option, and I had no idea he was there. The only reason he didn't shoot me was because he was being a nice guy. Thank you. Like I
That's what I'm
appreciate that.
And I know Jen, when I give my speech and she's around when we do parties, she's like, I'm not a surrenderer. If you come up to me that close, I'm shooting you. Okay, and you know, that's her gameplay. That's how she's always played. She's a MagFed player. So one shot, one hit, done is how she plays. I've been shot by a drunk jackass from 3 feet away. 3 times, and then he ran around me and laughed at me.
There's a big difference between shooting somebody close once and wailing on them.
Like, this is supposed to be a friendly, safe game. And when you have jackasses who don't treat it that way, you ruin what I think the decent players work so hard at trying to have not this stigma of how dangerous it is. Because I was having this conversation today about hockey. You're allowed to beat the shit out of people on ice. And that's okay. And people come out with no teeth and all their teeth are fake. And people love that and get excited. And when this, you have to remove, I learned this today, you have to remove your gloves, drop your stick, and take your helmet off when you get in a fight in hockey. And that's allowed. And they get, people pay loads of money to watch this happen. I'm on a paintball field playing the safe as I can because I have a weapon technically in my hand. And I have a stigma against me because of these jackasses. But hockey's allowed to beat the shit out of each other. Like, that bothers me.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of comments here. Let's read some of these comments here. Going back a little bit. Bill said, surrenders get about a second and a half max to reply, unless it's like a little kid or someone who is so afraid to get hit they are non-threats. Gaff said, I wear half ghillie. No one shoots me except my teammates. That sucks. Paul said, it's why I used to keep a .43 caliber pistol for point blank shots. Sadly, Fields won't allow him to use it anymore. And that makes Loki, please stop. That makes sense using a .43 cal for that thing, but not everyone carries that, you know. So, Gaff said, I don't know what the rules for surrendering in the field, but I surrendered guys in the bunker, and they did not call it. They just shot me. Yeah. So again, I don't care what team they're on. If they're on my team or the other team, if someone legit surrenders you fairly, take it. I don't understand why you should if you're a sportsman person, you should congratulate them for being sneaky.
I thank them every time.
I thank them too. That's what I said to Mike. I was like, "Thank you for not shooting me. I appreciate that."
Because I think it might have been Black Hawk Down. We had gotten behind, I think, the helicopter. And you got out, and I was alone with a stretcher. I had no idea, and we were in the way back, like by the pipeline. And I'm just waiting. I'm trying to figure out how the hell to get out, or to move, or to do something. And all of a sudden, I hear, I don't know if he said surrender or bang bang. And I look around, and there's just a guy, like, probably 5 feet away from me. And I'm like, thank you. I appreciate you. And I walked off the field.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah, I don't care what team you're on. If you're on my team and you do that, I'm going to yell at you for it. I think that's being a real asshole, a real dick, not taking a surrender. If they really got you and you won't take it, you are a bad sportsman. That's all I have to say about it.
And P3 does not have a surrender rule.
Yeah, there is no surrender rule. It's just, for me, it's just honor. It's being a good sportsman. But yeah, there's no minimum engagement or anything.
There's a few things wrong with their video. One is having that kid being shot from 10 feet away. Or more so, I guess that's not wrong. The one thing is, though, during the cheater scene, where that bothers me every time I watch it. Because then I have to explain that gun hits don't count. But they don't have a surrender roll at P3. They do tell you on their safety video not to shoot kids from 10 feet away. That's all they say. So I know I mention it. More so, I'm a party ref, so I just say, how do you want to handle this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I go into some experiences of why you don't want to be shot from 2 feet away. And usually, most of them will surrender. I've had a few shots very close, and mostly there if we play speedball. Um, and then Three Rivers does have the 15 feet rule, but I don't think anyone really listens to that rule.
It's a very difficult rule
to abide by 15 feet
Yeah.
because you don't really know what like.
First of all, you don't know what 15 feet is. Secondly, sometimes you don't know they're there, especially when it's like in the castle or something. You don't know they're there until you get in there.
I surrendered 2 people in the castle one time. I don't know if they. I was like surrender, and they were like, "What?" I was like, "You now need to leave. You're out." And they left. They were young. They were younger kids. I don't know how old. Maybe 15 and 12.
Yeah, and so the 15 and 12, and that's a good, so like I was saying with what happened to Dalton.
And Dalton will shoot a little kid.
Dalton will shoot a little kid, but if assuming so the person in Dalton's situation, assuming that was not some older a-hole, let's say it was some little kid, and now let's say that Dalton didn't give him the chance to surrender, just came through the window and shot that kid in the back of the head.
You're concussed.
First of all, the kid's in a lot of pain, probably concussed. Secondly, now Dalton's a huge a-hole because he shot some little kid or anyone in the back of the head from that close. But, like, at this point, now having had that happen to him, what should he do in the future?
Does he still surrender?
Yeah, does he try to surrender them, knowing that that person probably or may not take it and shoot him? Or does he just come through the window and shoot whoever's in there, regardless of who they may be? Because there's no way you're going to know that until you get there. So, at this point, what do we do? What should Dalton do in the future? Like, that's just a dick move. I don't understand it. But, let's see.
You were at...
Bill says, head-on surrenders are kind of BS, though. If you run up on the other side of my bunker and ask me to surrender, no. Well, that I can understand, Bill. If you're face-to-face with each other and there's like a 50-50 chance either one of you could shoot the other person, that's completely different. Then that's why I'm saying a true surrender would be if you don't know they're there, if they sneak up behind you, or
if they flank you and you don't see them flanking you.
Even if you do know that like they're over there and then they get over here and they call surrender, that's what I mean by a true surrender, as opposed to what
if
you're talking
they're
about.
running up to you and they're screaming surrender, I'm popping you one of them.
The only time that that I was angry that someone didn't call surrender. Or didn't surrender when I called them to surrender, and there is a video from this. It was from Armitage at the beginning of the year. I think it's the last video I actually ever, the last gameplay footage I posted. He's coming up the stairs. I'm in the tower at P3. He's coming up the tower, and I hear him coming up, so I'm ready. And as soon as he moves in, I shoot him. As soon as he moves in, I call surrender, and he shoots me. And then, and I was like, come on, bud. I called surrender. I didn't want to shoot you from 2 feet away. He's like, don't pull that. You're out. You just don't want to leave. And I was like, well, how about we both leave? And I did. I respawned. And I think he did too, but his respawn was real close anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But that was where it was face to face, and I think he should have accepted it. Because I could have very easily, if I wanted to, come up and shoot him and shot him in the top of the head while he was on the stairs. I could have done that. But I decided not to because I don't want to get shot in the top of the head from 5-6 feet away. That would hurt really badly. But I don't know. I don't know how you would take that. I know Alex watched that video and he told me he would not have surrendered either. Which again, I don't understand that. But in any case, Paul says, my personal rule is this. You have 3 seconds or until you show you are about to try and shoot me, I shoot you. If you claim you surrendered and walk away without using the barrel cover, you get shot anyway after I warn you once. You claim you surrendered and walk away. So
you claim you surrender, but you don't really surrender and you walk away.
But my question for you, Paul, would be the barrel cover part, because I don't put my barrel cover on. Especially if the respawn is on the field, like with the medic stations that we had at Reapers, I don't think I put my barrel sock on once that whole like because there was no reason to. I was on the field the whole time, so I'm not sure I understand that part. You're dead. I read it. It was just I didn't need to read it out loud. Gaff said he's sad that I did not read his comment. Um, he said it was me that banged you guys, and I feel bad shooting you that close, but I shot the guys before you guys moved to that bunker. Are you talking about Are you talking about what I was talking about with Dalton, and him not or trying to surrender the guy in the without shooting him in the back of the head? Paul, do you put your barrel sock on every time you get shot out? Because if you do, like, that's weird to me. I rarely put my barrel sock on, especially during a scenario because I'm staying on the field the whole time. So I mean,
Yeah, but you don't also, you keep your gun. I got yelled at for not having my hand up. I was walking off the field and I was like in the middle of, I think, Woodsball / Vietnam. Like, just like gun completely down. Like, everything was down. I wasn't doing anything. And he's like, "Are you out?" I was like, and he like yelled at me. I think it was Zach. "Put your hand up if you're out." And I was like, "I'm out." And I walked off the field, but I was like, I wasn't even close to anybody.
I don't know.
But no, I don't put my, I take when it's Three Rivers rec, and when I leave, I put it on. But other than that,
Well, if you're leaving the field, yeah.
no,
Hey.
not leaving the field. Like staying on the field until game's over, but I'm out.
Oh, I don't do that.
On rec ball because I don't want anyone shooting. Like
But
it's just
they're
safe.
not gonna see that. If they're accidentally shooting you, they're not looking to see your barrel sock.
No, I know that. I usually, because just of having sensitive triggers, I just try to put it on if I can.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with making it obvious that you're out. Putting your hand up, putting your gun in the air, I am completely with that. But the barrel sock part, I don't know, that doesn't make much sense to me. And back when I was a horrible person at the age of 15, I'd walk around without a purpose, with barrel down, no cover. People would ignore me, and I'd go a safe spot and shoot them out. So yes, obvious out or you're shot. um, yeah, I mean, I've actually seen people do that, ghost walking or whatever they call it, dead man walking or whatever. I mean, it's a legit strategy. I don't like it. I wouldn't do it myself. I think it's kind of cheap, but like, it's not cheating. It's just cheap. But
I saw a lot of dead man talking.
Yeah, but that happens.
I just ignore it.
Yeah,
it's not even worth yelling about.
Especially with a scenario, it's hard to. At a scenario with dead men talking, I only get upset if they're like, "Hey, he's behind that barrier." Because I know after I get hit, I'm talking on the radio the whole time. If I'm walking off the field and back on, I'm on the radio pretty much the whole time discussing things.
Yeah.
So I can't get upset about them talking about things. The only thing I would get upset about, like I said, is if they say, if like their teammate that's still in says, "Where is he?" and he says he's behind that third tree on the left. Like that, I'm not okay with.
Usually it's from where they come from. They say from where they came from. They say where they're coming from. 'Cause Mike does that, and whatever. It's like you're not really telling me anything I can't see.
Yeah. Cheesy, yes, cheesy is a good word for it. But gaffs,
I saw
with your comment about the bang bang that you said, and you felt bad about it. Which circumstance are you talking? Are you talking about us specifically, or just people on our team?
Were you in a full ghillie suit? I only saw one person. I saw two people in a ghillie suit. One had bottoms and his gun was wrapped, and then I saw a person in a full ghillie suit.
I don't think Gaffs is the one in the full ghillie suit.
But the one that had ghillie was a medium-sized black man, and he was on our team.
And there was someone in a full ghillie suit on their team,
I saw him because everyone was getting mad because they kept saying that they
Because
were
they kept
lighting up
bouncing,
and they
yeah,
couldn't.
they kept bouncing off of him, which whatever. That's annoying, but it's part of the game. If it doesn't break, it doesn't break. So good for him, I guess.
Do you think he shakes it out and just a bunch of paintballs just drop to the ground?
Good night, Paul. Good night.
Night.
So I think the barrel cover requirement making it sound like you bonus ball everyone right now. It does sound a bit like that, doesn't it? Which is my questioning about it, because I know I don't put my barrel sock on, so I would think that most people don't. And that's why I'm saying, like, if you have your hand up, you're out.
So essentially, don't pretend that you're in, or pretend that you're out while you're still in, so that you can shoot people. Be obvious about it.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as putting the barrel sock on.
Because recently I don't even want to I've been shot more than necessary. But some shots, like, and it's very difficult to see this, so I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I got, at Bunker Hill, I got hit in the chest like 3 times. And I went down. And then balls just kept flying, so like I couldn't get up to get out. So sometimes it's difficult to leave where you are, and then you just get lit up because you can't go anywhere. That's
Paul, I've also been in the sport for over 20 years, and I've never put my cover on when I get out. So, yeah, sorry.
You also make it obvious that you're
I
out
do
there.
try to make it obvious that I'm out. I put my hand in the air, I call them out, and I slump off the field, but I don't put my barrel sock on. Unless I'm leaving the field. If obviously I'm leaving the field, but if there's medic stations on the field, or if the respawn point is on the field, I do not put my barrel sock on. I don't know why you would, honestly. So that's just a different of opinion there. I mean, I can
But
see.
you're also different
I
players.
completely see what you're saying as far as people faking it, and I would say that more speaks to them
Being horrible human beings.
just being unsportsman than it does to you or to those of us that don't take our barrel socks off, or don't put them on. Again, it's not cheating; it's just cheap. It's a cheap way of doing it. Like, if that's how you have to win, then you're not a very good player, I guess, is what it comes down to. But Bill, I didn't see any comments from you. I don't even know if you were on here yet. So I don't know if you heard the whole story. I would say go back and watch it. I think we started talking about that about 40 minutes in, about what actually happened on the day of. But essentially, give me your say, just from the short. What would you do if the ref tells you to leave the field, regardless of if you're actually out or not? If the ref tells you to leave, are you supposed to leave? And then you can go back and see the whole thing. Like I said, I think we started talking about that about 40 minutes in.
Because you both came into the tent at the same time, and he asked you, because you were mad.
I'm still mad.
And I don't see you very, very mad, like, quiet mad. That's when you gotta worry about this man, when he's quiet mad.
Quiet mad. Okay, so you did leave. Yeah, so go back and watch what I talk about there. I don't want to bore everybody with going through it again, but essentially it boils down to that. Like, my analogy was in a speedball field tournament. If you take a bounce but the ref calls you out, if you don't leave, it's a major penalty,
Not
and you and 2 others are
necessarily
leaving.
Speedball at the 2-man. If you talk back to a ref.
Yeah, if it's
gone.
any tournament, if you don't leave when the ref says to leave, regardless of whether or not you should, or you are actually out, the ref told you to leave, so you leave.
If you would say no to a ref, or if you use any profanity to...
At any tournament we've ever been to.
Basically, if you verbally attack a ref, they're kicking you out, they're giving you a penalty, and you're lucky if you'll play the next game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... so go back and watch that again, and then give me opinion later on how you feel about it. But in short, those particular red players cheated. I know I got hit early in the day, or I got called out earlier in the day. Rich called me out, and he said he got hit in the mask. So I didn't feel anything. I didn't hear anything. No indication on my part that I had gotten hit. But he said, "Dan, you're out," and I said, "Where?" And he said, "On your mat," or he said, "On your head," and I was, "Where?" And he said, "Right." He kept pointing, and I kept like, "I believe you, but where?" So he came over and he said that what happened was basically the mount on the side of my mask where my camera is. So not my camera and not my mask, but the mount between the two got hit. Now I've been hit there before, and I can feel it when it happens because it jars my whole mask when it happens. I did not feel a damn thing. And when I got off the field, I checked, and there was no paint there. But you know what I did?
You walked off.
I left the field when he told me I was out. I questioned him. I asked him, but when he came over and he said, "You're out," I left the field. I don't understand why it's that hard. I don't see the problem.
Well, at that point, the game wasn't on the line there.
That's true. The game was not on the line at that point. Oh, baby. I know, we're closing down. We're closing
Why
down.
have we not been cuddling, Puppy?
Yeah, you're ready for cuddles, huh?
As usual.
Poor baby.
He's a warm puppy.
So that's pretty much all I had.
Do you want to say
But
hi to
in
the internet
essentially
people?
in closing,
You want to say hi to the YouTubies? You want to?
Reapers this year, most of it was so much fun, but just a stain is put on the whole day, and I can't even remember the good parts of the day because of the last couple of minutes. That's how bad this was for me.
I have to say it was much play-wise, game structure-wise. As much as it sucks that we lost, and as much as it came down to that last 30 minutes of the bomb goes off or they defuse the bomb, I thought it was much better than Reapers 1.
Yeah.
And you know what?
They had more time for it, yeah.
It's very easy to say, well, I like this structure, and this is the only structure I like, and money's worth points, and yay. The fact that money wasn't worth points, the fact that it came down to one thing, but to do that one thing, you had to play the entire day, I thought was pretty good. It sucks that all they had to do was press a stupid button, but we don't know that they didn't have to do other things to press that button.
That's true.
So we don't see that side. I'm not agreeing with how it was handled or, the cheating aspect. But I give Kivo and Jen many props. First of all, I give them props because they basically, I'm surprised they haven't made a bedroom there yet. And I think the reason P3 is so successful is because of those two. Jen runs that field like a well-oiled machine, and Kivo does not take any shit from anybody.
Actually, here, speaking of the aspect there with the bomb at the end, and how much work and all that stuff, the one thing that Kivo did tell me that he was like, "Yeah, that's my bad," is for the end, aside from the cheating, where they airstriked the area, and he was like, he told me, he said that it's my bad. They tried to think of all these things that could go wrong and that they would need to address and all this stuff, and he said the one thing that they missed that happened was that they called an airstrike on the bomb.
Because wouldn't that blow up the bomb?
That's what he said. He was like, technically that's blowing up the bomb. But they hadn't said anything about it, so they had to let them do it. But like,
Kivo.
Can you airstrike the bomb without blowing the bomb up? Like, doesn't that make us win right away?
We're all dead, but...
Didn't they set the bomb off by doing that? Therefore we won. But anyway.
I think it would have been funny if they called it and we would have won and then been like, bitches.
I honestly, I would say that because they hadn't thought of it before, what they should have said to them was, you can do that, but that'll blow up the bomb. So they'll win. But whatever. I mean, they didn't think of it, so I don't have a problem with that. It's annoying, and I don't think it should have been that way, but it's not like the end of the world. I could live with it.
The fact that
I mean, you said that to me, but the thing that happened earlier, and that actually it happened throughout the day, that was super super annoying, so freaking annoying. But I have no issue with it. As an honest player, who would rather have a good game, I have absolutely nothing bad to say about it. But in the time, oh my god, I was so annoyed. They kept smoking us. They had, in order to even out the situation, because at the beginning of the day we were crushing them. Like we had 98% of the field to us, and they couldn't get past their spawn because we were just holding them in there. So what they would do is they would lay down the poison gas, and we were all out, or we had to run away from it. And they did that to us throughout the day like 10 times. I think in the morning they did to us about 6, and then they did a bunch of more times in the afternoon. Again, at the time I was like, come on again, come on, and they kept doing it to us, and so annoying. But it makes perfect sense from gameplay, because they were struggling at the beginning of the game, and we were holding them into their play, in their spawn basically.
we always seem to take the entire field and then lose.
Yeah, I don't understand how, for this game specifically, and Arbitage was the same thing. How can we own so much of the field for so much of the day and still lose? In this particular case, it was because all they had to do was press a button. Because we had to hold it there for 75 minutes, but they had 5 seconds that they just had to press a button, done. That's why. But yeah, so Bill, I agree with you. It broke up still gameplay. It pushed us back because we were winning too much. And so it makes perfect sense. I have no issue with it. I understand. I understand why they did it. I would have done the same thing if I was running the game. But during the gameplay, when I'm the one getting smoked, it sucks so bad. But in any case, we've been on here long enough. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about, or are we all done for the night? Because I think we're topped out, at least for now. We'll have more next week that we can talk about it. But I wanted to get out there that they cheated.
Let's just say one last thing is that I'm J Dog on Saturday. I have Gen Power, and I'm so excited about it.
Yes, that.
So if you come to P3, I'm going to be Gen for the day.
You don't even know how to use the
I'm very upset about that, but
the register. You don't know how to use the register.
I know. I'm sure I can figure it out though.
So yes, Eric would like me to again mention the charity event.
Who's
What's
that?
Somewhat.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Hi SL Graham 100.
So Minion has a charity event on the 15th, which is not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after. I believe it's $40 entry, and the admission all goes to the National Hemophilia Foundation.
So there's the Pittsburgh chapter, and all the proceeds go there except for 5% that actually goes to the national. I think that's Steven. Is that you, Steven? 5% goes to the National Hemophilia Foundation, and the rest of the proceeds go to Pittsburgh's chapter. And then you can, if you don't want to play or you don't have $40, hi Steven, it's $10 to donate and to just kind of be a participant in the activities other than being on the field and playing. And pretty much it's capture the flag for the entire field, right?
Yeah, it's
You basically just have to go around and take flags.
Every field that has the flags on them, all those fields will be active, and every 10 minutes they will count up who owns which flags. But all the fields are open for the most part. I think Hyperball's not. Probably Field 1 doesn't have any flags on it, so it's not.
So what, there's 10 flags?
2, 4,
No, 12.
6, 8, 10, 12. It should be 12.
Because there's
Should be
7
12.
fields, but
Should be 12 flags active. So yeah, giant game of domination is basically what it is. But it should be a good time. I plan on running my Talon. Yeah, Grass Eagle Talon. Yeah. But yeah, so Steven, they absolutely smoked you guys too. They smoked both of us. But specifically, what I'm referring to is actually even before you got there, because you got there late. For that hour and a half before you got there, they smoked us 4 times.
yeah, there was a
Legitimately 4 times, and they didn't just smoke one area. They smoked
everything.
like the whole
Yeah.
area surrounding compound to make us pull back. uh, yeah, I mean, but like as Bill said, it helps keep the game from getting too stale because essentially what can happen with that style of game is, and this happens all the time with D-Day, is the line forms wherever it forms and it stays there basically all day. It happens at Ion all the time too, because you have so many people on both teams and they rush and they get to where they need to go, and every once in a while you're gonna get a push here or a pull there, or it's gonna happen every once in a while. But for the most part, it's gonna remain on that line pretty much all day.
He's a different Steven.
Oh,
Okay, he's a different Steven. Okay, he's not even a. That's not how my Steven spells. But
hello, different Steven.
Hi, different Steven. I'm sorry.
So, hello, different Steven. Well, then you.
That's very interesting that you're a Steven.
So then you might have seen then at the first hour of the day, we got smoked so much. But again, it makes perfect sense. I have no problem with it. It's just super annoying when it's happening to you.
That's very interesting that he's a Steven. I kind of like it.
Yes, it's.
And Pittsburgh has its moments. It does have a lot of water, though. We have more bridges than Venice, Italy.
I find that hard to believe.
That's a fact.
I feel like one could count the entire city of Venice as one big bridge. Because it's all on the water.
When you do the Ducky tours, they tell you.
They're closing that down, you know.
No.
Gaffs, did you ride the Ducky tours while you're here? Because they're closed down.
When?
I don't know.
Is it for the winter? Or
No,
winter?
like forever.
When does that happen?
I'm not sure.
You have to take me on a Ducky tour before they leave.
I've never been on a Ducky tour.
Well, then we have to go on a Ducky tour.
But yeah, we have a very pretty city. That's absolutely true. It's very pretty, especially at night when you. I don't know if you experienced this, but if you go through the Fort Pitt tunnels towards the city after dark, it's a very attractive shot. Perks of Being a Wildflower, when she's like standing out of the car or whatever, they show that shot.
Me.
It's a not a very good movie,
but also if you
they show that shot. It's a very attractive city.
Up on Mount Washington on the lookouts,
Yeah,
can
they're
see
nice too.
everything, and it's gorgeous day and.
You'll have to actually let us know when you're coming next time, and we'll show you around the city. Same with stupid Alex. We had no idea he was going to be there until he was there.
No, I found out.
Or he put a Snapchat
I
on or
found out on Snapchat, and I was like, "What is this?"
So, like, if you guys let us know you're coming ahead of time, we'll meet up. We'll take you out. We'll show you the city.
We
did
got
that
couches.
when Danger Man was here. We showed him around.
I'll read you a bedtime story. It'll be all good.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. But you could, if you were to ask, you could stay at our house. We wouldn't have a problem with that. But if you had to get back, obviously you had to get back. But in any case, timing exiting the Liberty Tube to when the beat drops on your fave song equals love.
I don't do the Liberty Tubes.
She doesn't like Liberty Tubes.
I hate the Liberty Tubes. They freak me out.
Well, in any case, that's it for tonight. And we will be back on next Wednesday as per usual. We have more stuff to talk about with Reapers. Actual good stuff instead of just complaining all day. But basically, if there's anything you should take from today, it's that those 15 or so specific red people cheated, and the red team should not have won the way they did. Again, they may have won otherwise, but the way they won was legit
that
cheating.
airstrike should have, killed the bomb, and then we would have won.
P3 paint, so it's Pittsburgh Paintball Park.
We call it P3.
But P3 is what it's called for short.
Yeah.
P3 stands for Pittsburgh Paintball Park. So that's why I think that's why you're getting confused.
So it's not P3 paintball. It's just P3, which equals Pittsburgh Paintball Park.
Yeah. Although I have heard people say P3 paintball, which I think is super annoying. I'm like, P3
No.
paintball? That's Pittsburgh Paintball Park paintball. That doesn't make any sense at all. But I've heard
That's
people say it.
P4.
That's P4. That would be P4. So that's super annoying. It annoys me when people do that. But yeah, so essentially, if you are, I see that people, we're up to 6 now for somehow. If you're new, we're going to go for the night. But essentially, rewind back to about 40 minutes in or so. See where I start telling the story of the end of the game. And truly comment and let me know what you think. If a ref tells you to leave, regardless of whether or not you should be out, regardless of whether or not you got hit or you got shot or whatever, if the ref calls you to leave, should you leave? Tell me. And let me know if Red Team honestly should have won in the way that they did. So, have a good night, everybody.